My trip to New York in 1999. I went to New York to visit a friend and stay at Purchase College at Purchase, New York. And I bought a book, to make a long story short, when I was there. It was the first book of Kierkegaard that I ever bought, one of the first real books of philosophy that I bought, and existentialist philosophy. And I read it, and on the way back on the bus, I think I read the whole thing on the 8 hour trip, and I was instantly converted to Christianity. Instantly, like magically, mysteriously, miraculously, instantly, totally, absolutely Christian. And before that, I was a radical atheist, an anti-clerical, anti-Christian, anti-gospel, anti-theist, radical atheist. And I was instantly converted, except for a small stint where I was under the influence of evangelical Christians, charismatic, born-again Protestant Christians in my village. They had taught me about Christ, so I learned about Christ and the cross mostly, and some biblical exegesis and hermeneutics, but nothing to write home about. So on my trip from New York, when I read that book, I became a big fan of Kierkegaard and read almost all of his books, his philosophical existentialist works and his religious spiritual works. That can make the difference between the two, but I know that he didn't have the imprimatur, so he's not a Catholic saint, right? He's not a doctor of the church. He's not a recommended Christian author, uh, but I did it anyways. And I remember having that book. I had in one of his books, Either Or, when I was reading that. I'd read it, and went to see a doctor when I was sick and not feeling well. I forget what I had back then, something that was wrong with my body and my mind. And he told me, your problem is what you're holding in your hands. Stop reading Kierkegaard. And I never stopped, so I should have probably followed the doctor's advice. I thought he was an idiot, an imbecile. How can you tell me what not to read? I love philosophy. I love Kierkegaard. I love Christianity. I love philosophy and existentialism in the Kierkegaardian tradition, because it's all about total commitment, right? To willing only one thing, purity of heart, will one thing, the good. And in any case, I'm getting ahead of myself here. All I wanted to say is that I read that book on the way back and had a conversion experience exactly as described in the gospel, with Paul falling off his horse, except it felt more like a 2x4 hit me in the face.